This is the Night Owls Disc Golf Podcast.
I'm JP.
I'm Shane.
And I'm Ben.
Benjamin or just Ben?
My government name is Benjamin.
Okay, government name. It is better. I had a really so this I had a guy come up to me and tell me, so he has this name. He worked for me. Actually, he works for me currently. I'm not going to say his name or anything, but he came up to me and he's a white guy, and he said, "I don't go by my slave name." And then he told me his normal name, and I just kind of looked at him and I go, "I mean, that's awesome, but I say that." But I respect that. I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. I don't care, you know. So, all right. So, yeah, it was. But you know, I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. I respect you. I respect people. So, all right. Door_disc_golf, night_owl_pod, and then doordisc.com, where you can buy all your disc golf needs. So we've been hammering away. Our new shop guy, Kevin, is doing an awesome job. He's getting stuff in just left and right. So all that stuff that we had purchased from that other shop, we'll have it in here, all of it.
Oh, that's
in here
new.
pretty soon.
New shop guy.
You know.
Oh,
no, I didn't know that.
We had the new shop guy.
He's also bringing the heat on social media, and he is my best friend on social media because he said Joel Freeman looks like a failed magician.
Is that the guy from Twitter?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, let's be clear.
He
said his mom said that Joel looks like a failed magician. I thought that was fantastic.
And if anybody knows me and my thoughts on Joel Freeman, me and Kevin's mom apparently are best friends.
So there was another comment. Man, we're getting off to a hot start here. For the listeners and the viewers, I didn't want to create a script today. Like, I didn't want to follow our normal stuff. I'm just like emotionally spent. So I was like, let's just wing it tonight. Let's have fun. And so this is where it's going. And I'm going to continue with this. I was on Twitter. And Twitter, gentleman said, "I would rather have a rabid Wolverine eat my taint than listen and watch Joel Freeman right now." And I'm like, the guy has a divisive personality. I get it. Does he deserve all that though? Yeah.
Well, the big, he brought this upon himself this past weekend when he said, "That's a great shot. This is poor course design." And like everybody heard it. And I'm like, you're not doing yourself any favors, homie. Like, you are going to be, like, you were caught on a hot mic saying that.
Yeah, I think some people were roasting him on Reddit too for that. They're like, yeah.
I saw it. Yeah. So, well, anyways, kudos to Kevin. So, hey, Kevin, we welcome you. And if you listen to the podcast, here's your shout out. And I think I'm going to actually, this weekend, we have the Springtime Open, which is awesome. All the courses are set up. Everything's ready to go. So I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. I am not playing because I'm going to be leaving Sunday morning, but also I need to sit and do check-ins at the pro course. So I'll be sitting at the second location. And then I'm going to go into the shop on Saturday while everybody's playing, because Kevin's playing actually as well. So where was I going with that? Oh, I'm going to have Kevin work this weekend. I'll start with him Friday. We're going to start having him post a bit more regularly on social media while he's in the shop. So we'll have him working on that. Our last shop guy was awesome. He just was not a tech guy. So Kevin seems to do pretty well there. So I'm going to drop him the passwords to all of our stuff. Actually, it's all on the iPads there, and he's going to start doing that. So hopefully we'll get some hot takes coming from our account too. But with that being said, Kevin, that's where we're up for this Friday. So, thrower hanger flipper, what'd you buy? We didn't buy anything. But I did buy some of the best gummy worms I've ever eaten in my life on last Sunday. They were phenomenal. I don't remember the name of them or anything like that, but they were some of the best gummy worms.
Well, that's good, because as we say on Casual Relief, no free ads. You got to pay for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're about to give a really big free ad today with some of the stuff we're going to talk about. So I'll go over some of the stuff that we're going to talk about. So Texas State's we're going to go over what Paul and Dylan Cease bought. Paul Mcbeth and Dylan Cease. We'll talk about Matty O and how grateful he is. We're going to talk about Goliath Discs. So this is our free ad for disc golf. And then Kastaplast, Trash Panda, and we'll get to our random questions, shop updates. I'm going to say it. Ready? It's going to be a short one. I doubt it. Let's see. 8:44 right now. I bet you won't be done until about 9:50. So with that being said, anybody have the results from Texas State's up? Because I do not. I didn't want to do the
you still have our
preparation
picks
or anything tonight. Everybody can hear them the last episode.
The only one I know is that JP picked as a wild card Sayananda, and as I pull up the results, Sayananda taking it down. Sayananda, I'm pulling it up
by 2 strokes over Tatar.
Yeah. Yes, she beat Kristen Tatar. I'm trying to see who came in third, but the Google machine.
Third was Hanley and Allen.
The Google machine is being slow.
Ona's. Yeah, Owen Hanley, the Contrita, Jessica Weiss, Missy, Cat Merch, Aria Castruita, and then the other. Yeah, that's the top 10.
Yeah,
and then.
Yeah, I know I had Handley and Allen in my picks, but I don't. And I think I had Tatar in my pick.
I think I picked Katrina to win, and then I picked Cyanide as my wild card, and I don't remember my other. Maybe Owen was in there, but I thought Ben, didn't you pick Calvin to win? MPO?
I too would have to listen to last week's episode.
I thought you had, but I was not sure.
I did.
Maybe that would sound.
I didn't write them down this time. I usually write them down. I didn't write them down. But yeah, so I think we all did really well. I'm sure I did better than all you guys, but I'm sure we did really well. But so we had Sayananda and Calvin Heimberg win, and both of them won in a very impressive fashion. So Calvin won by 6, his largest win that he's ever had, and by 4 strokes over. So he was won by 6. It was 4 over his largest gap. And then
I did for a second. Yeah,
I'm not hearing anything.
I wonder if my phone was
okay. Well, hopefully it doesn't pick it up in the mic. So,
but
yeah, this is real, folks. We're raw and uncut, just so you know. Yeah, so then Sayananda, I'm going to pause and I'm going to talk about Sayananda. I didn't know really anything about her. So I think she follows us and we follow her. So I've seen her before on social media. She is one of the most effervescent individuals I've ever seen in my life. And it was really funny because I was watching her. I was like, man, that is a theater major right there. I don't know if she is or isn't, but that's kind of the vibe. She was very, very sure of what she was doing, and she was super happy and just kind of bouncy. And bouncy, I don't know if that's an appropriate term, but you could just tell she was happy to be there. Lively, yeah. So I mean, really good. And I'm trying not to be like derogatory, because that's not what I'm talking about. Like, she was a great player. She had a fantastic, backhand that she could shape really any shot. And I think it's for a lack of not having a forehand for the most part. But the throws she was making were confident and just great. Like, it all came together for her this round, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
She won Am Worlds in 2014, and then she won intermediate at U.S. Women's in 2013, and I thought she was another world.
She's a junior world champion.
Junior world champion as well.
2016. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and she's been in the game for a while, so she's kind of a old soul in the game, and she is like good. I was really impressed. I had never really noticed her before.
She was really regional for.
She's been all over the place,
but she's been showing up. She's from the Northwest, I think Washington, and yeah, I knew she was out there. She's a former Latitude player. Like, I think I said that last episode, but she's cashed in 73% of her events, Pro Tour events.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild. and she just moved up to 11th in the world after her win.
That's great.
She was talking on, I think, Nick and Matt, or maybe somewhere else, how like her biggest holdup was just like money, just funds to get out there, because she didn't have like a cash flow sponsorship until Westside. So she was just very grateful, and like she had been the last couple of years been working like at Taco Bell 40 hours a week to just trying to like get out and play as much as she can, and like, you know, so it was just like one of those things where, you know, Shane owns a restaurant, so you know that like those hours can be pretty flexible for like you to kind of play in and get out and do your work. So like you know, now that she has like this Westside sponsorship, she's just very grateful to be able to be on the road and kind of sustain it. And she's got a full tour planned. She says she's got like 1 week off in July, and that where she'll be at home. But as far as that goes, she's hitting the ground running because she's now also qualified for Throw Pink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm glad the tour's better off for her. I mean, I think she's a great personality for the tour. And that whole card I was just watching, it was so fun to watch. And, you know, traditionally I don't watch a lot of FPO. You know, I mean, you can crucify me for it, but I just don't. I'd rather watch, you know, like the pinnacle of our sport. And they are the pinnacle in their division. But I'd love to watch the guys that can do a bunch of crud that I will never hope to do. It just amazes me. And some of these girls can do stuff that I'll never hope to do as well. But now that I've tried to defend myself, I just simply loved watching the card. Like, I thought it was a great card. And just Own, obviously, is one of the most kind people you'll ever see. And then with Sai, who seems to be right in that same realm. And then you had Holland, who was joking and laughing the whole time. And, you know, Tatar was probably the most serious out of them all, but still always talking with somebody, always having fun. Like it was great. It was great to watch. It looked like just some buddies out on the course having some fun.
Yeah.
And it seemed like all their games reflected that too. So, yeah. All right. So Calvin,
the youngest MP50 champ you'll ever see. You're 55 with the belt buckle that he held up at the end.
That's right.
Yeah.
Was it the wrong belt buckle?
He and Sai both got the wrong belt buckles. I don't know how that happened, but she held up the wrong one at the end too. Like, so yeah, a little mix up, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad. I mean, at least they had something. I'm sure they got the right ones at the end, but yeah. So that's, I mean, great for Calvin, and I'm glad to see him rolling. And my number one pick of Gannon Burr, I don't know where he ended up finishing up, but I don't think he did very well, did he?
Not that I saw. I don't think he was in the top 10.
Gannon finished 19th.
No, I don't think so either. Okay. So from winning to 19th, that seems like a big jump. And it didn't seem like they were very different courses. Both of the courses the men and the women played different courses. I thought there was like kind of a shortened version again, but no, completely separate courses. And they were very different, and they were really good courses, both of them. Like they looked to be, the viewership was good as far as what I can tell, as far as playing. I mean, I'll stand by it. I can't judge it because I've never played it. But they looked like good courses. They were good spectating courses.
The only thing I wish is that the finishing hole for the women looked like it would have just been really fun to watch the men kind of go for it, throwing off of that little like dock and then throwing onto the island. That was just my only critique. I just thought it would have been fun to watch those guys try and run it, because like Cat Merch almost aced it. There was a couple people that got super close, so I would have loved to see the men take a run at it.
Right. I agree. All right, so let's get into, because there's no this weekend. There's no. Oh, bless you. There is no
Pro Tour
tournament this weekend. Man, my mind. But yeah, no Pro Tour stop this weekend. I'm sure that there's plenty of tournaments, obviously. Like
that's the hottest tournament in town.
I know. I'm not sure why people are even talking about anything else or even thinking about anything else. So yeah, so Springtime Open is this weekend, but outside of that, there's no Pro Tour, so we're not going to make any predictions or picks. And then so we'll go on to Paul bought a course. So Paul Mcbeth and Dylan Cease bought the Canyon. Or
Throw Down the Mountain. That's the course.
Throw Down the Mountain, or Grand Canyon.
They're changing the name. I know that.
So it's a temp course. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. It sounds like they're going to basically make it year round, and change the name and redesign the course and put it in permanently. So you guys know more than me and want to talk about that?
From what I know, which is probably very similar to what JP knows, is that basically the tournament director for Throw It on the Mountain contacted Paul and was like, hey, this is probably going to be the last one, knowing that Paul loves this tournament, plays it every year, like pencils it in, because the property's being sold. Paul had interest in buying it, looked into it, teamed up with his buddy, Cy Young Award finalist and White Sox opening day starter, Dylan Cease, and it was like, hey, do you want to do this? Literally like 3 weeks after Dylan Cease bought some property in Tuscaloosa, Alabama to put in a professional, like pro level disc golf tournament or disc golf course in. So they ended up paying $1.2 million for 60 acres in Florida. Brooksville, Florida, to be exact. And then just everything like you said, Shane. So their step one is getting the design in, so then they can pour concrete for like realty pads. Because right now it's just kind of like those rubber mats, and then tent baskets out there. So the course is going to be lengthened a bit because the whole acreage itself wasn't in use, so it's going to go from like a par 64. I think Paul said like a probably closer to either 69 or 70, that they can really put in some length and change some stuff. And then just infrastructure is coming next, so like either like a trailer or something for like a pro shop, and working on like a parking lot. And then they're selling like lifetime memberships for $2,500. There's going to be like X amount of them, and like you don't have to pay every year like a seasonal membership or yearly membership. It's a lifetime membership that will get some perks with it. It is transferable to like a family member or whomever. Like, so whenever you're retired from disc golf or you want to pass it on, you can pass it on to somebody. They're going to do like different things throughout the year for like these lifetime members, like lifetime member tournaments and stuff. So seems like, I mean, not that we would expect anything else from Paul Mcbeth to not have it as ducks in a row or have it, like it all figured out. But the coolest thing that I saw is that Kenny the Champ played the course after Paul bought it and ended up shooting 5 down on it.
That's cool.
So did Paul already put a course like in the ground? So they have the temp course in the ground, or
no, it's just, like the tent, like they just set it up like the way that it's set up for Throw It on the Mountain, and then Kenny went out there and played it.
And that tournament runs like 4 weekends. This is the MPO, and then there's 3 different weekends for all the AM stuff to go on. So it's huge. Like, that's just crazy. And I've seen, I haven't seen it too much. I saw coverage one time. I think Paul, like someone was following Paul there, and maybe Johnny McRae or a couple of people. I haven't seen it the property too much, but it's Florida, so typical Florida.
Yeah,
weather
and it's right near where my brother lives. It's like miles away from my brother, not hundreds, like just miles away from my brother. So I think I'll be doing some vacationing and back to my home state of Florida over the next couple of years. Who knows? Maybe I'll do one of those lifetime memberships if there's any left.
I think they said there was going to be 500.
That would be pretty cool.
Which equals 1.2 million if you're doing the math.
I can't imagine that they would turn anybody down who'd want to pay more, pay for the lifetime membership beyond the 500 and be like, oh yeah, just give me a lifetime membership. And they turn them down. Like, I don't know. That's kind of funny.
I would assume so too. I mean, I maybe there's certain packages and all that stuff, and there's things that they're going to do for them.
Yeah, they'd probably be like, oh, we can do that for you, but you wouldn't get the perks or something. Who knows? But yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah, or maybe they open up so many spots every year. All right, so next up, I'm excited about it, so happy. Next up is Matty O. I think, Ben, you brought this up as well, and I'm super excited about what he said and that he won. So we won a tournament in Tallahassee, and you go ahead and say...
He gets the trophy, and in typical Matty O fashion goes, I'd like to thank Westside Discs and Paul Mcbeth for not showing up. Because Paul like ripped.
He was
He ripped open his finger and then pulled out at the last minute to then like do stuff with the course and just take care of his finger quick. But in typical Matteo fashion, and I love it.
Yeah, that's such a fantastic thing, and it's so cool that he says stuff like that, you know, because he's real. He knows that it would have been a much harder tournament if Paul Mcbeth was there, and you know, but it's also slapstick funny, get a rise out of people.
So Matteo beat Silas Schultz and Casey White. That's some of the other notable. Marky Chap was there. So there's a couple of notable people. Charlie Goodpasture, who's a big Kastaplast guy down in Florida. So yeah, a couple people.
Great. How did Casey White finish?
Yeah, he got third.
Great. Good for him. All right. So, let's get into Goliath Discs. So we'll talk about Goliath Discs. So Ben and I, when we were in Vegas, Ben and I were right across the aisle from Goliath Discs, what was their sporting goods name? Do you remember?
My memory eludes me.
Yeah. So anyways, they own a sporting goods store, and I want to say it was Cedar Rapids, Iowa, but Goliath Discs is the name. We will have him on. I just got to set it up. I just haven't got around to doing it. But it was 3 discs, and JP has the disc now, but there's 3 discs that they have. They actually have 4 out now. And I want to talk about them because they're a bit different. They're not going with a disc golf brand to make or repop their discs. They're doing everything from scratch. When I had the conversation with them, they were basically found their own extrusion molds or extrusion molder, and then worked with them on making a disc. Now, their discs are very similar to other molds, but does that say anything? I mean, every manufacturer has discs that are very similar. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like, that's the great thing about disc golf, is that if someone says, hey, I really like the P2, but I don't like the Flex 3 or Flex 2.5 or whatever it is it's in, like, okay, let me show you the 7 other P2s or P2 like discs we have in the shop in all these different other plastics from all the different other manufacturers. So I think that's great. Give me your impressions on them, JP, and then we'll talk to you, Ben, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, I mean,
so if you want to go through the discs and their names.
I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Uri, Jurai
is what I said, but who knows if that's right.
Yeah, and it's a 5.5 minus 1.1 mid-range. I don't know. This plastic is nice and it's flexy for sure. Like, even the rim's pretty flexy. You know, kind of like a lucid, not a stiff, obviously. It's weird though, because the flight plate, it's like flat here, and then it kind of like domes a little bit, and then it's really rounded. You know, for a mid-range, it's almost feels like a driver to me more than a mid-range, but it feels good. I mean, I'm sure it flies great. And then they have this is the Genesis. It's a 3401, but it feels more, like Shane said, like a P2 in this premium plastic. Don't know what the plastic names are at all. Did they tell you guys at all what kind of plastic names they had?
Yes, but I don't remember what the names were, because they had like a lucid style plastic as well. I mean, excuse me, like a classic style plastic there as well. But I just bought all the premium stuff because I just wanted them to kind of the better ones.
And then the last one is this Enoch fairway driver. What were you gonna say, Ben?
So I just pulled up their plastics. So they have the 2 plastics, and the first one is the OT, Old Testament. This is their first and original plastic. It's a blend that is a softer blend that is quite tacky and gummy, but still has a decent amount of stiffness to it. OT is sticky, so it catches the basket really well and sits soft when thrown. Oasis is the higher end premium plastic. It is a translucent, harder plastic. It does have a good gummy feel to it. It takes much longer to beat in and make for an amazing throwing plastic. So I believe that's what you have everything in, Shane, is the Oasis plastic.
Yeah, that's right.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it when I bought it. And, you know, for me, I'm excited. I as you can tell, I wear this every time. So I'm Christian, but I noticed that they had obviously very Christian names. I didn't realize that when I bought them. Like, I knew that Enoch was out of the Bible, and I knew obviously Goliath is with David and Goliath and things like that. So I'll have to ask him when we have him on. We'll have to ask him if that's truly the case. I would assume it is, but I'd love to have a conversation about him, because that's a very forward thing to do in today's society, to put that stuff out there, because I think that's a very polarizing approach. So business wise, is it a good decision or not? If you just simply look at business, maybe not, because you're polarizing your population. But I guess personally, put your faith out there, be bold with it. Awesome. Good for him. Good for him. So, or them. So, but when I touched the plastic, I felt the plastics were fantastic. They do have a fourth disc. Do they have that fourth disc listed on their site?
I don't think that it's in full production, because like you can't buy it. I'm looking right now because they are in Infinite. So, no, the only thing that they have on Infinite is two discs. So,
okay. Yeah. So you and I were able to hold the disc, and I compared it just right directly. I mean, I had the Graces sitting right next to me, and we picked them up, and they're almost a clone of a Grace. I don't know if you remember that or not, when we were kind of goofing with them, and it felt fantastic. But all their plastics are really high quality. So I'm excited to get out and actually throw them and work with them a little bit and see what they are like. And once I do that, then I'll reach out to them and get them on the podcast. So, anything to say, Ben, about it?
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool and bold that they just knew from the start that they just wanted to go and do their own thing, and found like a plastic injection molder in their area, instead of, taking the kind of conventional approach with the manufacturer. And it seemed like they had a lot of kind of ideas and things coming down the pipeline. So it'll be interesting to kind of just see their growth. See how I mean, Infinite is a huge step for them. So it'll be cool to see their footprint kind of outside of the Midwest as well.
I feel like they should maybe approach someone like Eagles Wings and see if they can't do some kind of collaboration with them, and see if they can get their name out there with them. And that would be a good way to spread the word about their discs. And like have,
Well, yeah, being that Eagles Wings is a faith-based company, I think that's a great idea. I know that Gannon Burr and that whole crew, they all knew each other. And I know Gannon's kind of from around that area, from what I understand. But they all kind of knew each other. They were all like in cahoots. So that's why the Lone Star guys were right across. They were part of that whole group. So the guy that was doing the jerseys and them, they were all kind of in the same area, and they all knew each other pretty well. So I know there's kind of a close knit group, and I think that's a great idea, reach out to Eagles Wings to see if they could do something. But, Eagles Wings is kind of established, and they work with all different manufacturers, and, they do have a separate team and all that stuff. So I wonder if that would be something that would ever work. Maybe I'll even just shoot a text to Dustin and just say, hey, are you aware of these people? Because then maybe they can start working together. But, all right. So is that enough about Goliath?
Yeah. I think
I think so.
Okay. I think so.
Okay. So we'll talk about two companies that have had discs approved and discs OOP in their short existence. So Kastaplast put 3 discs, is that correct? OOP?
Yeah, they're retiring
already?
the Grim X, and the CAC Z, which are all actually pretty popular molds for them. Like on the Kastaplast, when they made the announcement, there's a lot of people like, no way, you're retiring the CAC Z. That's like one of my favorite discs. And a lot of people for the Grim and the Grim X. I'm not sure if a lot of people are like swing one way on the Grim or the Grim X, but yeah, kind of surprising to hear that those molds are retiring. But I know they have 2 newer molds coming, one called the Stig, and I forgot what the other one is called. But what's cool about them retiring these discs is they have their mint colored plastic for their first runs, that lighter green, and these discs now that are going to be retired are going to be in a darker shimmery plastic when they're retired, and there's going to be a limited run of them, and then when they're gone, they're gone.
A darker green.
Yeah,
darker,
no, not mint,
color,
like a darker.
Okay.
Kelly green, forest green kind of color. Yeah, so just like an aging of the green.
Okay. So active right now on our site, just so you know, DoorDisc.com, we have Grimex, we have Grims, and we have Cax Z's. So if you need any, just jump online, because if they're not going to have them anymore, we still have some. Let's see. Yeah, we have them. So Grimex, Grims, and then let's see, do we have any Cax? Let's see. Yep, and we have Cax. So we got them all, and we have in Grimex and Glow.
What?
So sorry.
What role does House of Discs play in this?
That's what
do
I
you
was
think
just
they were just like, these things are too close and they don't really move the needle, like too close to other things that are under the House of Discs umbrella that are like double or tripling these molds, and as far as things, let's not waste their time? Or this is a rhetorical question because no one knows the answer.
No, absolutely. Well, we can speculate though. That's what we do on here. We just make a bunch of crud and roll with it. Business perspective, I would assume that there's only so much time on each press for House of Discs, because not only included in the umbrella of House of Discs, there's also 2 other companies that are molded, which includes Discmania and another Swedish brand or Finnish brand or somewhere. It's one of those brands
on the on the
64th
latitude
brand
of the world. That's where it
exactly. So they're all competing for time on these presses, I'm sure. And yes, they have 20 something of them, but I don't know how many they have. I'm just making up numbers, but there's only so much that those can run a day, and then you have to have an operator standing nearby, I'm sure, to supervise a certain amount of. So I'm sure they're just saying, okay, if we're going to do these new ones, then we need to reduce this, or simply. And when you said they're very popular molds, JP, I was surprised, because the Grim and the Grim X are ones that I ordered the very first time we were able to get Kastaplast.
No,
and haven't moved. Now the Cax, yes, but the Grim hasn't moved. But then again, I mean, there's stuff in our shop that doesn't move that are popular discs, and sometimes it's just the run, sometimes it's a color, sometimes it's just I don't know. Maybe we just don't have those throwers.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I can't really. I mean,
the only other high speed driver they have, it would be the Rask, and the Rask is that double flight plate, or the double, almost like a double disc. It's got the weird thing underneath, and it's it's high speed. It's a 14 speed, and it just feels weird underneath. The Grim X is it's a 12 speed. Depending on the plastic, it's very Destroyer-esque. The Grim is the more understable but higher speed, but the Grim X is a little more stable but slower speed. It's a 12 speed. So they both fit in the wheelhouse, but they're both similar to a Sword or a Trespass or any of those other molds. But the thing that Kastaplast has going for it is their plastic. I think it's better than some of the actual other trilogy plastics, better than the Lucid. It just feels better. It's a little tackier, but I like it way better. I'd be all for House of Discs actually going Kastaplast route and using their plastic over the other plastic that they're using. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I think Kastaplast was a very recent purchase for
within
House
a year.
Of Discs when they brought them into last 64. Yeah. So I think some of the older stuff is what you're liking, because I've noticed some of the newest runs that I brought in, it's Lucid or it's Tournament or whatever it is. I mean, it's the exact same.
It's the K1 stuff before it was with the House of Discs. It was really a gummier kind of soft. K1 soft is still pretty soft, but it was a gummier, softer plastic. And then you still had the K1 that was kind of the Lucid, but it still felt a little better to me than regular Lucid plastic. I don't know what it is, but there was just something different about it that was awesome. And I think that's what a lot of people like about the company.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a while there where Kastaplast, you brought it in and it just went directly off the shelves, minus a few like the Grim, or at least for us. I mean, it was gone. And Bergs are one of those things, you bring them in, it's they're What do they call the glitches? You bring them in, they're gone. They don't stay on the shelves, which is great, but you can only buy a certain amount of them. They limit how many you can get, there's all those type of things. And it's the FOMO. So it's like what Discmania used to do. And that's why Discmania has fallen out of favor in that regard, as far as like stuff flying off the shelves as soon as it comes in. So yeah. So Jordan brought up something, which was really funny. He threw it up through text about Discrafts, commercials. And it was that they're tournament players, so their players are actually promoting stock
I did see something about. Yeah, I noticed that.
That is goofy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was pretty. Like I don't take the stance that he took, but it's weird. It's weird. Why would they not promote their own discs? But they're probably getting royalties from those commercials and selling those discs and using those likenesses and all that stuff.
I noticed it on Instagram for a while. They were doing a run of like Brody or Missy or something like, hey, this just started making my bag. This is what I love about it. Blah 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 blah. You can purchase this at Discraft or whatever. And Discraft right now is running all their player stores are having a big sale right now too. They're promoting that heavily right now.
Yeah. The April is the drop for the new ones, and I'm debating whether I'm going to pick them up or not. I don't think I will, because usually the player runs just simply don't sell. And that's
you guys get Venoms?
No, we did not get Venoms. Yeah, I mean we have Venoms, but we didn't get the new Venoms.
Like the old Ledgestone ones are still in the store. Yeah,
right. And from what I understand, I think they're the same mold. It was exclusive to Ledgestone this first year.
Yeah, because I thought the AB ones or whatever that they just released, they like kind of retooled them or redid the numbers. Maybe they're supposed to be pretty stable.
Yeah, they might have. And the Venoms we have in the shop are darn stable. But they're this weird stable. You can still turn them, but they finish hard. So. They seem to be the same disc, but maybe I'm completely wrong because I haven't thrown or touched the new Venoms. And then Trash Panda. Ben, you want to talk about that, or we still want to talk about
I don't have anything to say about Kastaplast, but just real quick, you brought up players for Discraft. What do you guys think Yuli's announcement is on Friday when this episode comes out?
I don't know.
It's very cryptic.
Yeah. Well, he was on Discraft or on Instagram today mentioning something about his injury. Like he was having something with that. I don't know, but Discraft mentioned a date, and I was like, that's really odd for the Yuli announcement. I don't know.
It was like Yuli announcement, and then he had like this voiceover that was like, my dad always said, leave it better than you found it, and it's just like really cryptic because like he's under contract through Discraft through 2026. This whole year leading up to it, he's like made it seem like he was still on the hunt for all these things and like he wasn't going anywhere. But this ad on Instagram and Twitter is like made it seem like he's retiring.
Yeah, right. Or maybe he's just handing down. Maybe he's just handing down captain. Somebody else is going to be the captain. I don't know. It's very weird.
Well, no more.
Or this, yeah. I would say with some of his injuries and the way he plays, and how, and it is unfortunate, and I could probably understand this. Like you just get to a point in your life where you're not going to get better, and it's due to age, it's due to physicality, it's due to all these different enumerations. But in the MPO, that happens probably a lot faster. You're going to peak, or you're not going to be able to catch up as quickly, even if you're still making strides, because Yuli's not that old. Even if you're still making strides at getting better, he's not going to catch some of these 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Now, this is probably way far off a base of what he's thinking about, but just speculation. If he does decide he's going to go more into a leave it better than maybe he's going to go even harder into the paint with the team captain. Where he's going to get a little bit more. Maybe he started or partnered with some sort of management or agency, or maybe he's starting a union.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be.
That would be.
Or maybe
that would be kind of neat.
He's got the Yuli Foundation too. I don't know if that's going to be something with that. Who knows? But
Yeah, and he's been pushing that pretty good, and he's been doing a pretty good job with it.
I mean, he said this is a couple hours ago. Good news on the health this week. Things are turning around on that spectrum. Back home before Music City. Can't wait to compete. I've never take it for granted that I get to do disc golf for a living. It's not possible without you, which I'm thinking the fans. So I don't know. That's something.
Huh. Well, I all I know is I wish him well, and I hope he's staying in the sport, because disc golf without Yuli it would suck. It wouldn't suck. It's disc golf, but it would be a little worse.
Maybe I don't know. Just maybe not doing the full tour, taking the Sexton route, and picking and choosing more stops to take off, or who knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very well could be.
All I know is I want to buy the media rights to the MA or the MP40 division in like 3 years, so that way like I can show up to Vegas and then like shoot the lead card that's Kale and Sexton and Germ.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, even Germ just had a post the other day that I think this last year was the first year since I don't remember the year that he did, or I think it was in 14 years that he hadn't won a PDGA event. That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, A tier or whatever.
What if Yuli is doing something with Foundation?
Ooh. I mean, but like the thing was posted on Discraft. It was posted on Discraft's page. So like,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was posted directly on Discraft's page?
Not on... I mean, Paul shared it from his own personal pages, of course, but yeah, it was like a Discraft post.
Oh, okay.
What if he's leaving Discraft?
Well, maybe not, because
No, he's not.
No.
He's going back to Prodigy.
He bought Prodigy.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He beat me to it. All right. Well, I got nothing else, Ben.
Yeah, Trash Panda, a good buddy of the podcast and of tournaments and events here. Jesse from Trash Panda, they had their second disc approved. No real timeline of when it's coming out. If you were like a super Patreon member, you could get a like a prototype test run, but it's called the Dune, and it's going to be a mid-range. I don't know the flight numbers. I would.
Sorry, I was pulling up an email from him. Sorry.
But yeah, I don't know the flight numbers on it. I would assume just kind of the route that Jesse's took with his thought process behind the inner core. I would assume it's something very just kind of straight and neutral flying, but very exciting. It turns out Jesse spent the summer of 2014 living in Green Bay, and
oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why he's sponsoring Clash of the Creek. He played Pinecrest a ton, and he aced hole 2, which we have given him as his whole sponsorship, with an Innova Groove. And we have a second sign for him that just kind of explains his like time in Green Bay, and then he has in there, well, he doesn't throw grooves anymore.
You said hole 2?
But I am led to believe that was the old routing, the old layout before it became yeah.
Okay.
Regardless, he threw an Innova Groove.
But Ben, you may have missed out on the groove, but who hasn't owned a groove that's played for more than 3 years, 4 years? JP, how many grooves have you
had
owned?
one, and I sold it to the old man.
You did. That was kind of crappy.
Honestly, I was like, the groove under the wing. I was like, this is kind of weird technology, and I threw it once. I was like, no, I'm getting rid of this thing. Yeah,
it's so weird feeling. I owned 1 or 2 of them. Their flight numbers are fantastic. I can't get over it. I was never able to. They honestly, when you get into them, they fly really well. There's just this weird hand feel to me. But Okay, no, I thought they were releasing some information about the mid that I was going to pull up for Trash Panda, but he did not. Yeah, so I guess outside of that, then you have your random question. So, but I'm happy for Trash Panda. I'm glad. Oh, they started the recycling program. Did we talk about that already? Did I miss that?
No, we haven't talked about that yet, JP.
Okay.
I just saw the post. I didn't get too much into it. I just was on Instagram the other day and saw that Jesse had posted that they had a recycling program that they're starting, but I didn't deep dive into it too much.
Yeah, so basically people can kind of just send in discs, and he's encouraging, he made a video talking about like what other companies are doing as far as like not the standard, like, so you broke down like different companies of like what truly is like, is it truly recycled, or like breaking down like how recycled of a disc is a recycled disc. And then he talked about how like the best thing that we all can do is like rate our use sections, buy this off your buddies, just kind of donate them to, schools and boys and girls clubs and Ys and all that stuff. So yeah, he's kind of talked about that. And then, people can kind of send discs, and he'll get them to different folks and different people. So
he should be somebody on the PDGA talking about disc golf sustainability with plastics and things. And it'd be interesting to kind of set a industry standard as far as recycling discs and what that means for sustainability.
Yeah. And I like it. It's such a niche thing. So you might blow off disc recycling as being one of those things that it's like, it's such a small sport. I mean, how many are really being lost, and is it really creating an issue, blah, blah, blah. And I would probably say, globally thinking about it, probably not. But that doesn't matter. It's still one more avenue that we can just be a little more responsible with those type of things. And, I'm not one of those guys that pushes those type of things. I'm very private in how I deal with my life and the things that I do, but I do those things. I said do. I do those things, in our personal life, but I'm not one to go out and push those type of things. So I think he's doing it very good. And he has such a good voice behind what he's doing. There's nothing telling you you're a horrible person because you play disc golf and lose discs. It's just saying like, hey man, let's see what we can do. Like, great recycling is either giving them to somebody else or, send them back to me and I'll do something with them. He's a man of action, and that's fantastic.
Well, on the local level,
and him and his team, I'm assuming.
On the local level, JP's leading the charge for us, getting those used discs right back into the door disc golf so someone else can enjoy.
Right. I know. Mm-hmm. Oh man, dang it! I need to send. I have a friend that's in. Actually, I'm going there. I have a friend that's in South Carolina that she works at a school, and she was a colleague of mine at Concordia University, and I'm going to take. I've already given her a bunch of discs, and she has since moved schools, and they're thinking about starting a disc golf program there. So I'm going to throw a whole bunch more discs at her because we got more logics and links than I could ever think to do with, especially in that order. I mean, how many? We probably had 200 of each.
And just all the baseline Prodigy stuff, man. Boxes of baseline Prodigy.
Yeah. So before I give those to the shop, I'm going to take probably 30, 40, 50 of them and then just box them up and send them out to her. I told her I'd do it a while ago. I just haven't got around to it. So I am going to get that done and get some to some more schools. And there's one other person I reached out to that I'm going to get some. Well, no, it was a Boys and Girls Club here in Door County, but I don't know. There's something weird. There's something weird going on. Not speaking ill, just it's hard to get stuff to them. So, but I have it as soon as they're ready for it. All right, Ben, Random question.
If you could go back to school, or you were going to go back to school, what would you go back to school to learn how to do? Or whether that's like a trade, or just a major or area of study, or just kind of anything like that.
I can go. So I would probably, if I could go back to school or go back to school right now, or even just be younger and go back to school. And I think I'm gonna try it anyways. But I've always wanted to be a pilot, and it's just been one of those little things. But it's been always so far out of reach for me. And I'm blessed enough and fortunate enough in my circumstances that it's within reach now. So I would love to go back to school to be a pilot, and I would love to go to school to be a pilot. So, because how boss is that? Think about like flying into a disc golf tournament. Like, how are you going to get there? I'm going to fly. Isn't that really expensive? No.
My struggles. Do you know how much you could have just saved me getting to Vegas? You could have been like, hey, I'll come get you.
Yeah, right.
I know. It is so expensive. It is so expensive. And that's what stops me from doing, because there's nothing useful, and I can't make any money from being a pilot. Well, I mean, I could, but I don't have any desire to make money being a pilot. It would just simply be for leisure. Did I say that? Like,
I say leisure.
Leisure? How do you say it, Ben?
Leisure.
I mean, GP.
Yeah.
Leisure. See, I think that's appropriate. Leisure. Why did I say leisure, Ben?
You've been hanging out with me too much. I say
you
leisure.
Say leisure. But I've never heard you say leisure. Oh wow.
I've heard it both ways.
Where was I at?
Yeah.
Leisure. Okay. I've heard it both ways too, but I feel like there's only one right.
At least it's not leisure.
Leisure.
Yeah.
I was in leisure. So,
you should get a flight simulator.
So I would.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not as cool, because no one can like witness me do it. Like, it's all about public perception, right? Because I really want the eye.
Go on Twitch and play Flight Simulator. Get like the pedals and the the yoke and everything.
Oh. I don't remember where it was, but I went in one of those. I got so sick. It was like the enclosed one. I don't know. It was sick. It wasn't me controlling. It was one of those like VR simulators where you sit in it and you feel like you're in it and it moves around. Oh, I still feel sick from it now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, so I would just use it for leisure. Like, it would just be so it's still expensive. Like, so if I would have came to get you from Vegas, like the planes that we could afford, that I could afford, you can go like 200 miles at a time before you need to stop to fuel, depending on winds and all that
Flying
stuff.
A little
like,
Cessna or what?
That would have been expensive. Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm not going to fly a 747. I don't know anything about planes. Yeah. I wouldn't fly any like bigger ones. Like, what I want is one of those big air floaty tire thingies that they have in Alaska. I just think they're really cool. Have you ever seen those ones? Those like planes?
Yeah.
They have like the giant like tube tires on them. Yeah. So is disc golf? So that would be me.
Yeah. So let's see. I would definitely, I mean, I've talked about this before. I'd probably want to go back to get into film school. I didn't have good enough grades to get into film school when I graduated high school, but that's something I always wanted to do, just be in that industry. Or, now thinking about it too, just getting into music engineering, just being able to be in the studio and work with mixing boards and that type of thing, just because music is something that really like drives my life. Not in a way of like it's enthralling to me. Like, I like sound. I like the sound of music. I listen to it every day. Even like I made the
soundtrack.
Yeah, well, yeah, the music for the podcast and like a couple other shows.
Okay.
No, not the soundtrack.
You're talking about the Sound of Music soundtrack. I mean,
I think it's just a cool avenue to be able to work with people and help them as all get their dreams out in their media and choice and everything like that. So yeah, I think that'd just be something cool to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome, and that explains your vinyl passion too. So I get it. It's all coming back to me.
What
about you,
Ben?
Ben?
Go back to school for like coding, I feel like that's just very like practical in today's kind of like world. Like if you can code, you can do a lot of different things within like computer.
Imagine the apps you can make for disc golf.
Right?
Yeah.
Or I do get like a BFA in like graphic design because I feel like there could be like a really good design house specifically for disc golf where like people could do like tournament logos and tournament stamps and like get those all done. Like that's what I would do. Like if I could go back,
like the Fiverr of disc golf.
I was gonna say, I don't know if has ThoughtSpace done any tournament stamps. Like I know they just do all their discs, but that's an avenue that would be interesting for them if they did tournament stamps. But yeah.
That's a brilliant. Can you trademark that right now? Because that's a brilliant idea, honestly.
Intellectual property,
if
right there.
Anybody has that sort of. Yeah, there it is. Because I mean, I would utilize someone like that all the time, because there is a certain, what do they call it, like industry knowledge that you have to create these stamps, and you got to know how the stamps work and all that stuff, like as far as the fine lines and whether they can be thick or what type of stamping they're going on. Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, I'd throw money at people all the time for that. Like every one of our tournaments, I'd throw money at people like that. Because if I could just trust them to get something that's going to work the first time, it's just listening to me babble on about what I would want to see. Well, I want to see a little thing here, and then like that would be the hardest part for them. But yeah, I would use them all the time. Brilliant idea, Ben. Brilliant idea. All right. Anything else?
Just shop update time if you got anything.
We do. So Discmania. So we got the MD1s, Cloud Breakers, and the Rainmakers, and they should all be here Friday. And then I got something from Dynamic Discs, but I don't remember what it was. So I did get, I think it was,
We're supposed to have a big release tomorrow. I don't remember what's coming out, but Thursday's Danny was promoting something, so maybe you got some of that stuff. Whatever it was, I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what I got. I was very select. I've been being very selective of what I'm purchasing because we have an enormous amount of stock. So I'm just kind of getting the stuff that I have seen sell. Yeah, I don't remember what it was that I purchased from DD. So, but we do have some Dynamic Discs coming in, and it might be Latitude 64 stuff. So maybe it was like the Tatar stamp stuff is what I'm thinking it might have been. Yeah, so those are the two things we got coming in. And then I will be making a disc golf Max Wax order here real soon. They were gracious enough to say yes to sponsoring our tournament, and then I dropped the ball and just didn't follow through with them. So yeah, it's on me. So I'll be doing a wholesale order with them anyways, but hopefully we can work in the future with them. They were very generous to say that they would give us basically CTP prizes for each hole for them. But like I said, I dropped the ball. So thanks to DG Max Wax. So go out there, dgmaxwax.com or something like that. Just look them up, and their surf minis and their snap sticks, they're fantastic. And they have a winter blend now that doesn't get as hard or firm. It's a little softer, so you can actually use it during the winter time when it's a little colder outside. So that is beneficial up here in Wisconsin. But I think outside of that, we will have some sort of Patreon-ish, OnlyFans-ish thing coming soon. We'll just have to actually buckle down and do it. So by the end of 2020,
if you have suggestions for what you'd want to see in it, drop it in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Drop it like it's hot, like Squirt. Remember that commercial?
Yeah.
Was that Squirt? It was Squirt, right?
Yeah, I think so. Something like
Sunkissed?
That. It was a soda.
Okay. It was a soda of some sort. So the only thing that I can think of is that what we would do is drop these. We record these Wednesday night. And then when do you record, Ben? Thursday night?
Casual Relief is Friday night.
You guys recording this Friday before the tournament?
Sure.
Nice.
Are y'all going to be up here, or are you coming up day of?
I think we're going up Saturday morning. I think that's the plan.
All right, cool. Cool beans. Yeah, because then we can release all those early. So we could try to do that. So have early access to those. And then our random babblings, what I'll do is I'll just start hitting the record button as soon as we all get on. And then you just hear some of our random babblings. We did that today, so maybe we'll have some shorts out of it. All right. Well, outside of that, keep it subpar. Anything else?
Say hey if you're at springtime.
Tip your waiters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come and help us. So I will not be playing. JP and Ben are both playing, correct? So I am not playing, but I'll be sitting at a registration table at the Wildberry, and then I'll be at the shop, and then I'm sure I'll be at the awards ceremony. But then I will not be there Sunday. But yeah, come on up, say hey, tell us you love us, tell us you hate us. And then, but if you hate us, you got to give us a reason. You can't just say
Michael and Matt too.
Away.
Michael and Matt will be there too from Casual Relief. So
yeah.
And we might get put on the same card. You never know.
I'm hoping so. That would be a blast.
Cards. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then you get the other three musketeers of the fourth of the shop. So they're Caden and Bjorn. I believe Bjorn is.
Yeah, he's in MA40, and then Joel will be there. Joe Paulson. Yeah,
Joel will be there, exactly. One of them, and then Kevin Costa. So the whole DoorDisc crew, and
Lucas is playing.
Jordan will be there, of course. So,
Lucas is playing. Yeah,
Lucas Stabana. Yeah. Well, and then Juliana.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'm missing somebody, and I'm going to make someone mad. But basically, we have our whole gaggle almost here. So, and then we'll get team shirts out to everybody that doesn't have team shirts, and then all the team packages this weekend, and then I'll send out the rest. But I don't know if Evan's going to.
I think Evan signed up.
JPU. Perfect. So look at that. We have everybody coming. So if you want to meet any of the DoorDisc golf people, we'll be here. So outside of that, keep us subpar and peace.